Tonight, we meet as Democrats, Republicans, and Independents, but most importantly, as Americans.
President Biden takes center stage.
It's never been a good bet to bet against the American people.
Amid war in Europe, the commander-in-chief tries to rally a divided nation.
Freedom will always triumph over tyranny.
The president determined to combat the rising costs at home.
I know you're tired, frustrated, and exhausted.
Tonight, we are going in-depth on tonight's State of the Union. We're hearing multiple 360 perspectives and fact-checking the president's address.
6.5 million new jobs just last year. More jobs in 1 year than ever before in the history of the United States of America.
Plus, we dig into what his vision for our country means for you and your family.
This is our moment to meet and overcome the challenges of our time, and we will.
The economy, the war in Ukraine, and uniting a deeply divided nation. That was some of the focus tonight as President Joe Biden delivered his first State of the Union.
And for the president, tonight offers a chance for him and his party to reset with Americans ahead of November's midterm elections.
And based on recent polling, both could use the help if they want to stay in control in Washington. According to the latest numbers from 538, 41% of Americans approve of the president's job, while 54% disapprove.
Meanwhile, a separate poll, this is from ABC News and the Washington Post, found 49% of registered voters prefer Republican candidates in the midterms compared to 42% for Democrats.
Tonight, we are taking a 360 in-depth look at the speech, providing perspective and insight into the president's address. Chief investigative reporter Tony Kovaleski is here fact-checking the president.
We're going to begin our team coverage with political reporter Megan Lopez breaking down highlights of the speech and also the Republican response from the Iowa governor, Kim Reynolds.
Ann and Shannon, the president had a big task ahead of him in his first State of the Union address. He needed to unify the country behind his response to the Ukrainian crisis, but also to address some of the domestic challenges that the country is facing. The speech was a little bit more than an hour long, and it was to mostly a maskless audience since the CDC and White House loosened their restrictions.
Madam Speaker, Madam Vice President,
It was a big night for a big speech.
let's use this moment to reset.
A big night for President Biden to draw a red line with Russia and show his unwavering support for Ukraine.
Putin's latest attack on Ukraine was premeditated and totally unprovoked. Tonight, I'm announcing that we will join our allies in closing off American airspace to all Russian flights.
Joining the EU and countries like Canada in doing so. He also said the U.S. is giving $1 billion in direct assistance to Ukraine and going after Russian oligarchs, but he made it clear American troops will not get involved. The president also took steps to ease oil and gas prices.
Tonight, I can announce the United States has worked with 30 other countries to release 60 million barrels of oil from reserves around the world.
It was also
I think I have a better idea to fight inflation. Lower your costs, not your wages.
a big night for lists. Biden's plan to bring the country together, overcome COVID, and rebuild the economy. On COVID, he called for more vaccines, opening schools, and being prepared for a new variant.
Tonight, I'm announcing that the Justice Department will soon name a chief prosecutor for pandemic fraud.
On the economy, the president wants to cut prescription, energy, and child care costs and make the tax code more fair.
Under my plan, nobody, let me say this again, nobody earning less than $400,000 a year will pay an additional penny in new taxes. Not a single penny.
The president acknowledged that inflation is an issue, rising at the fastest rate in 40 years.
I get it. That's why my top priority is getting prices under control.
And on unity, he said he wants to tackle the opioid epidemic, mental health, and veterans' needs. There's also the issue of rising crime rates.
The answer is not to defund the police. It's to fund the police. Fund them with resources and training. Resources and training they need to protect our communities.
The president asked Congress to pass his budget to help keep neighborhoods safe. He asked Congress to ban assault weapons and high-capacity magazines and to pass universal background checks. His bottom line?
The State of the Union is strong because you, the American people, are strong.
After the State of the Union, a Republican rebuttal delivered by Iowa Governor Kim Reynolds.
Instead of moving America forward, it feels like President Biden and his party have sent us back in time.
She brought up the Afghanistan withdrawal, calling it disastrous, while also asking the country to stand with Ukraine. But she also partially blamed Joe Biden for that situation.
Waiving sanctions on Russian pipelines while eliminating oil production here at home.
Governor Reynolds tried to draw a contrast between Republicans and Democrats on crime, the border, education, and more.
We can't project strength abroad if we're weak at home.
And finally, she spoke about the high inflation and blasted the Build Back Better Act.
Thankfully, the president's agenda didn't pass because even members of his own party said enough is enough.
Two very different takes on the state of our union. Megan Lopez, Denver 7.
In reaction to the president's speech, fell largely along party lines. And we begin our 360 in-depth reaction with Colorado Congressman Jason Crow, the Democrat. Now, I spoke with him immediately after the speech about the president's announcement that U.S. airspace will be closed to all Russian aircraft. And he said he's actually been pushing the White House to take this measure.
And it's definitely going to impact not just the economy, but also the quality of life of those oligarchs, right? Those oligarchs who make billions of dollars, who support Vladimir Putin and actually fuel the war machine.
And while speaking with him, Congressman Crow had harsh words for fellow Colorado Representative Lauren Boebert. The Republican heckled the president while he was talking about fallen veterans, including his late son, Bo. So first, here's the outburst.
A cancer that would put them in a flag-draped coffin. I know.
We've known for a very long time that Lauren Boebert doesn't know what she's doing. You know, what becomes increasingly clear is the level of her depravity, which is deep.
Now, in a tweet addressing her outburst, Congresswoman Boebert says she could not stay silent.
Republicans point to the inflation rate and the price of gasoline as examples of how the president isn't uniting the country. I spoke with Colorado GOP Chair Christy Burton Brown tonight about the speech and the moment when Republicans and Democrats stood in applause together. There were several of them. For example, when he said the answer is not to defund the police, but to fund the police.
I think there's always a few great lines in any speech. What we really have to look at, though, is actually the record of an elected official who's in office. Look at the record of Joe Biden since he's been in office for a year as president. And he has failed on international fronts. He has hurt us with our allies abroad. He has presided over a 40-year high inflation here in Colorado. It is a 25-year high in violent crime. The direction of the nation is not good, and voters are very worried.
Christy Burton Brown called the president's speech spin and predicts the House and Senate will flip in November.
And continue our in-depth coverage for you tonight. Tonight's State of the Union, of course, comes amid a backdrop of war in Ukraine.
Kyiv remains a city on edge as a large convoy of Russian forces advanced toward the Ukrainian capital. Support for Ukraine was well on display inside the House chamber tonight. Many lawmakers wore yellow and blue, representing Ukraine's national colors. And joining First Lady Jill Biden, the Ukrainian ambassador to the U.S. During his speech, the president bashed his Russian counterpart, Vladimir Putin, for choosing blood over diplomacy.
Throughout our history, we've learned this lesson. When dictators do not pay a price for their aggression, they cause more chaos. He rejected repeated efforts at diplomacy. He thought the West and NATO wouldn't respond. He thought he could divide us at home, in this chamber, in this nation. He thought he could divide us in Europe as well. But Putin was wrong. We are ready. We are united.
And tonight we are digging deeper into the president's plan to bolster the U.S. economy and to fight inflation.
And during his speech, he laid out a 4-point plan aimed at lowering costs for you and your family. And that includes making more goods in the U.S., reducing everyday costs, including the cost for prescription drugs and the cost of child care.
The third point, promoting fair competition to lower prices. The president argued that ocean shipping is dominated by foreign-owned companies, which have raised prices to make profit. And the president vowed to crack down on these companies. All right, to the fourth point now, eliminating barriers to well-paying jobs. This includes providing more training and hiring based on skills, not on degrees.
When we invest in our workers and we build an economy from the bottom up and the middle out together, we can do something we haven't done in a long time. Build a better America.
Now, also tonight, the president announced a new Test to Treat initiative to fight COVID-19. This would allow people to get tested in a pharmacy, and then if they receive a positive test, they get an antiviral pill on the spot for free. The president said he's working with Pfizer to get 1 million of these pills this month. He plans to double that next month.
And tonight, we're also getting 360 perspective on what some of you, our Denver viewers, thought of the president's address. Brian writes on Facebook, amazing how little respect POTUS gets anymore. Has nothing to do with which you reside on. They've been disagreeing for centuries, but show a modicum of respect at least. And Bev writes, also a lot of BS rhetoric about manufacturing in this country. And she adds that the U.S. fully supports Ukrainians but spends $1 billion on Russian oil every day. What a joke this is. And listen, you can still give us your 360 perspective right now on the Denver 7 Facebook and Twitter pages.
Tonight, the president made a lot of claims about the economy, about ways to fight inflation, and he also touted job growth on his watch.
Our 360 in-depth coverage continues tonight with Chief Investigator Tony Kovaleski, who is putting the president's claims through our Denver 7 truth test. Tony?
Yes, and Shannon, in the president's first State of the Union, in the 62 minutes where he had the entire world watching, President Biden's speech included more than 6,500 words. Our job for the past 3 hours was to ferret through those words and analyze the facts. Let's start with the president's statement on job growth.
We created jobs, lots of jobs. In fact, our economy created over 6.5 million new jobs just last year.
Here's what we found. On its face, the president is accurate. Our country added about 6.5 million jobs last year, a record number and a significant rebound. But it's a statement that does need some context. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, in 2020, the pandemic hit and the economy lost 9.4 million jobs, the largest one-year loss in history. Some economists give partial credit to the current administration. Others say after the decline in that job growth, the job growth was inevitable. Our next fact check, schools and teachers.
The American Rescue Plan gave schools money to hire teachers and help students make up for lost learning.
What the president said there is true. The American Rescue Plan provided about $125 billion to schools. But again, it's a statement requiring more context. A tweet last month by the president of the National Education Association said, quote, "There are 389,000 fewer educators in America's public schools today than were there before the pandemic." A testimonial that spending money may not guarantee immediate results. Our final fact check centers on oil reserves and oil prices.
Tonight, I can announce the United States has worked with 30 other countries to release 60 million barrels of oil from reserves around the world. America will lead that effort, releasing 30 million barrels of our own strategic petroleum reserve.
And it is a fact, the president's numbers, his projections are true, but clearly it's a move to try and lower prices at the pump and slow our surging inflation rate. But here's the context. As the Russian invasion in Ukraine continues, following that announcement by President Biden, the Associated Press reports oil prices jumped by more than $5 per barrel today. Anxiety remains high, along with the prices. And finally for you, the president was factual when he said the Russian ruble was down 30% and the Russian stock market is off 40%. And it is true, the United States has sent 475 million vaccine doses to foreign countries. Ann?
The president delivered his speech to a deeply divided nation, but he closed by saying he is more optimistic about our nation than ever before.